Aston, it is not going well. What? Hello
Okay, come on,
and
come on, come on.
welcome.
Come on, Joe, let's get it.
Hello and welcome to Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable with JP.
And Stacy D and
I
Mr. Messed
am
Up Walker in the background. That's number everything. Okay, go ahead on.
I am JP Craddock, and that is the one and only Stacy D Love. We are broadcasting remotely here on KUAW Radio. Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker, are we okay right now? Okay. So Mr. Walker handles the remote broadcasting. And apparently, and apparently we okay. All right. Coming up on the show today, we have our question of the day, which is: does being in a relationship mean that I can't remain friends with my ex? Does it mean that I can't have any friends of the opposite sex? And what we're also going to take a look at is whether or not it is okay to hold on to pictures, gifts, other memorabilia from previous relationships. This is something that comes up a lot in therapy. So we're going to talk about that today. So that's coming up later on the show. This is April 22nd. So today is National Earth Day, National Girl Scout Leaders Day, National Jelly Bean Day. Stacey D, you got jelly beans on your desk?
I do jelly beans.
You don't do jelly bean? All in your tea. Okay, it's National Jelly Bean Day. And let's see, National Teach Children to Save Day and National Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day.
Oh, Lord, I'm glad I don't have them days no more.
Well, for me, I've never been able to do that because you can't bring kids into people's therapy sessions. But
We did do it when we was at the mental health center. Remember, they was up in records and up at the front desk when we was at Wyandotte Mental Health Center. Wyandotte Mental Health Center owe us some money because if we say your name, we got to pay. But yeah.
you just gave a shout out to the mental health center. Okay.
I know.
Well, I have never been able to participate in Bring Your Children to Work Day. So hopefully at the end of the show, my wife will, since I'm working from home, my baby need to come up in here at the end of the show. So
I got my baby too.
Oh, your little four-legged baby.
My baby. And here I'm messing up again.
What is that?
Because he's been such a good baby. A Louis Vuitton, doggone now, Louis Vuitton got to give me some money. A Louis Vuitton dog thing.
These people have not paid for advertisement time. Stacey D.
Huh?
Okay. These people have not paid for advertisement time on this show.
I know. I got to do better.
Look, every week is Bring Your Baby to Work Day. Like, what's the baby's name again?
Sire.
Yes. Look, so much that I remember Sire's name. Okay. Because Sire done been to work. Okay. So yes, Sire needs to come on at the end of the show. You got your grandbabies at the house? Your grandbabies ain't there? Oh, okay. Well, Sire will do.
They in school.
Sire will do.
Virtual school. They in virtual school.
Sire will do. That'll work. Sire
do okay.
All right.
So what's going on in your world, JP?
Well, just something that I have noticed that's going to tie into some of the mental health and illness in the news stories today. I've noticed that I'm getting more and more young Black males entering therapy specifically to address their struggles with the current state of race relations in America. And these are young men in their 20s. The reason why this is interesting is that my older Black male clients are not even mentioning this. Not that they are not concerned about race relations in America, but I think everybody in the age range of 40s and up have been dealing with this for a long time. I think some of our younger people have been living in a state of I don't know if it's a lack of awareness, but they are just now, it seems, being hit with, oh my God, the state of race relations in America is difficult and they do not know how to handle it. And so they're coming into therapy talking about, how do I handle this? This is absolutely ridiculous. And it almost comes across like, where have they been? Where have they been?
But that, so, we have let our children live so comfortably that they didn't understand everything that was really literally going on. I mean, that's we as a race, we have elevated, and they're not understanding our struggles.
Right.
And even you and I didn't have as much struggles as our parents did because they have elevated, but we totally has elevated. I mean, the type of salary that I have been making for over 20 years, my mother was a BSRN, a bachelor's RN. She was she was over the whole nursing home for years. And she wasn't making the type of money I was making that I have made in the last 20 years. So it's the economy and the way things have been. We have truly elevated as a race and have given our kids the best.
Well, and what has happened is the country has regressed racially so much that young people are experiencing a form of culture shock.
Oh, yes.
Like, I think they were under the impression that racism did not exist. And so 4 years under the Trump presidency and racism has come out full force.
I have to agree with you.
And young people are struggling with it to the point of they're experiencing anxiety and having to come to therapy to manage the anxiety that they're experiencing around race relations. This is sad. And that's an understatement. What's going on in your world, Stacy D? Nothing. You got anything you want to check in on?
I have really nothing. Everything has been truly lovely. Yeah, guess what? I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday. And my kids don't even know, but now it's sort of funny. I'm going to get quite a few phone calls afterwards. Hey, Wayne, we're glad you tapped in with us. I guess I'm going to have to move into a ranch style house.
You ain't the only one.
Because guess what happened to Stacy D yesterday?
What?
I fell down the stairs. And I just had to lay down there for a minute. Make sure it does.
Because you couldn't get up or because you couldn't believe what happened?
Both. Because I was hiding for a little bit. I'm like, oh, Lord, did I just, and you know, so, we running downstairs. I was, trying to get my steps in, trying to keep it thicky thin, trying to get that thicky thin. So, I don't walk, do anything. I always have a little jog, a little pep. So I'm running down the stairs because, I run instead of walking. And, I always miss how you always miss a couple steps, but you remember couldn't do it this. Boop, 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 boop. So my back hurt a little bit.
Well, but you're right about the ranch style house. I wasn't thinking for that reason. I was thinking about because when it comes time to carry that laundry upstairs or just going up and down the stairs, I do not know how people deal with that after like the age of 50. Them stairs get rough.
Yeah, they do. Guess what? My washing area is right by my bedroom. It's on the second level. I was smart.
Mine is in the basement.
Them groceries. Oh yeah, because you have an older style home. But carrying those groceries in.
I hate carrying them groceries in.
Yeah, because that's your job. That's not my job.
Yes, that's my job. And
I go buy, pay for it. Hey, somebody else better bring them in. Ask my kids. 1 4th of July. Well, we on a whole nother one now. 1 4th of July. I get up on July 2nd. I go to the grocery store. I done spend a few $100s at the grocery store. I come in the house, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in from the grocery store. Do you know them Stacy kids did not get up out the bed? But I did a natural consequence. Guess what I did?
What?
Went right back to Super Walmart and returned all the food.
I thought you was gonna say you left they ice cream outside and let it melt and let they milk sit outside. You
I
took
took it all back and got my money back. And on the 4th of July, I kicked it at everybody else's house.
natural consequence.
That was a natural consequence.
Yes, I like it. Well, I remember a few years ago, one of my frat brothers lived in, it was kind of like a split level house. He had like 5 stairs going up and 5 stairs going down, and he would complain about these stairs. And I thought that he was being lazy and ridiculous and pathetic, that he was complaining about these stairs. And so his next home, all the main stuff is on one floor. Downstairs is like a rec room, a theater room, a bar, all that kind of stuff that he don't have to use every day. And
Every day?
I made fun of this fool, okay? I was like, you trying to get away from 5, 6 stairs at a time. Let me tell you, the stairs are real. And we got 2 flights of for real stairs up in here. So you right, Stacy D. And if I fall down there, you gonna be on here with Mr. Walker, because I'm gonna be in the hospital.
You have a whole lot. I only had like 7 stairs, and it wasn't nice at all. I seen it coming. I was like, okay, Stacey, get it together. It didn't get back together. I just was laid right there, and I was letting Sire in from using the bathroom, and I hollered and scared him that he ran away from the door.
He can't handle all that. He little and ain't he old?
His mama fell down, and I didn't contact the children because they'll be ready to take me to the emergency room and everything. But my back was they gonna go down because they listen in. But yeah, my back was hurting a little bit. Okay, let's go on to our next segment. Come on, JP, give it to us.
All right, it is time for mental health and illness in the news. Okay, of course, the biggest update is that Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all charges.
I'm so glad I was wrong.
God.
I'm so glad I was wrong.
And the whole country and really the whole world is glad that a piece of justice has taken place. Here's what I thought was so poignant. The special prosecutor, African-American special prosecutor, in his closing statements, he said, quote, "You were told that Mr. Floyd died because his heart was too big. But the truth of the matter is the reason why George Floyd is dead is because Mr. Chauvin's heart was too small."
Couldn't even see it. Look at it. You can't even see it.
Was that not the most
very powerful
and effective way to close out the case? And here's the thing. I am hopeful. One, these jurors, I applaud these jurors because juries have gotten it wrong many times before. And so that jury that, handled that case when Trayvon Martin was killed and they let that killer off who wasn't even a real police officer, okay? He was a fake wannabe cop and they sympathized with him and let him off. I hope that all the jurors from previous cases where no justice was rendered, I hope that they are sitting at home thinking about how they failed the country, how they failed in their humanity to hold a killer accountable. And so I don't want us to figure it out.
You know what? I think sometimes when they go like that, they could care less. They could care less. That's why they done it. That's why I did and done. Okay,
but they deserve to be haunted. Sorry. I said they deserve to be haunted by their failure as jury members. But what were you going to say, Stacy D?
I was investigating and reporting this week. Remember when we were talking last week about the other killing that happened in Minnesota? So I'm very good friends with the FBI agent that's in Minnesota. And we talked very extensive about, he actually was the investigator over it. And we talked, yeah, it got real big. And we actually discussed it. And he like really highlighted me on a lot of things, which I don't think he was supposed to. But guess what? I am a radio host and I'm going to give the tea.
Give it.
Give it. I have to
give
change.
It to us, Stacy.
I have to change it because I was really argumentative with him, but I really have to change it. He gave me the bone fact of what was going on. Yes, she was a veteran of the Minnesota police force for 26 years. Mm-hmm. They offered her retirement. She was a detective. They offered her retirement, but her retirement pension was only going to be 88%. And if she worked 4 more years, which would have been 30 years, she would have got 99%. And I mean, 10 more percent, I worked 4 more years. So she was a detective. And they can only have a certain amount of detectives. So to give someone else a promotion, they asked her to go down into training. So she was a trainer, yeah. So she was a trainer. And by her being in a detective for so long, she did not have a gun belt. She have not been wearing a gun belt. She's been wearing a holster.
She hadn't been in uniform.
Exactly. And she just got back in. And basically, she was a trainer. She was one of their trainers from Minnesota. And she did the whole protocol. She yelled, "Stop, I'm gonna tase you, taser." And when you say that, every police officer is supposed to move back, and then she's supposed to do taser. But by her not being I can't remember the exact wording that he used. You know, he who he is. But in layman's terms, because she wasn't used to having a gun belt on, and in the heat of the moment, she messed up. So I really believe, I have to agree with JP again. It was an accident. I believe it was an accident, but she still has to hold accountable because of a person's life was taken away. But she'll probably just get probation or something like that.
I believe
and have to retire now. Now she's gonna probably have to retire for only 88.
She's lucky to be able to retire. Okay, because
and keep her pension.
Folks are ready to put her in prison.
Yes. But everything, all the information that he gave me, I 100% in my heart believe that it was an accident.
Okay, and let me say to our listeners, because I know people probably disagreed with me when I was saying that, it's not that I don't think that she should be held accountable. We all have to be held accountable, even for our mistakes. If I'm driving down the street and I run into something or run into somebody, even though it's a mistake, I'm still held accountable legally and financially. So I wasn't saying she shouldn't be held accountable. I just want for us as a people, we have to be objective and we have to be fair. And even though we are fired up over the issues around the state of our police and criminal justice system, we still have to look at every incident objectively, and we have to be
and
fair.
Individually.
And this woman is probably tortured because after she did it, she screamed herself.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, S," because y'all know I don't cuss. "Oh, S, I done shot him."
Right.
Yeah, he gave me the full breakdown. We were probably on the phone like 2 hours, and he was hitting me with all the points, and he was like, "I'm just not gonna let you stand like that, Stacy. I'm not gonna let you do that." And he gave me all the points. So I did some investigating reporting.
He must have heard what you said last week. He's like, "Okay, come on."
He did. He listens. Thank you. Okay. Can't give you your name because you might get in trouble for giving me all that information. But
don't say his name. Don't get him in trouble.
I didn't. I get to talking and I will be upset. So let's move on.
Okay. Here's something that people do not know is that Chauvin might only get 13 and a half years in prison. Although the maximum sentence is 40 years, What has to happen is the prosecutor must ask for aggravating factors of particular cruelty towards George Floyd and abuse of his position of authority and trust in order for the judge to give the maximum sentence of 40 years. Now, considering that President Biden has reached out and addressed this whole thing, I'm pretty sure they are planning to go through the full process, because the truth of the matter is this man deserves to die in prison. When he comes out of the prison, he should be colded in a box. I know this sounds harsh, but what he did was unspeakable cruelty. Now, here's something really interesting to note that you might be a little shocked with. His wife filed for divorce immediately, 5 days after this murder took place. She filed for divorce. His wife is a former beauty queen. She was the 2019 Miss Minnesota. Yes.
2019.
Her crown just came off. But listen to this. So she filed for divorce 5 days after the murder, because she was I know that. She was devastated. And she issued a statement through her attorney that she was devastated and had the utmost sympathy. Her utmost sympathy lied with George Floyd's family, with his loved ones, and with everyone else who is grieving this tragedy. So the divorce was finalized on February 2nd. This is what you ain't even ready for. In this divorce, she was awarded most of the profits from their 2 vandalized homes, as well as $704,000 in cash. Chauvin was left with $420,000. Why was the Minnesota police officer a millionaire? They making a lot of money in Minnesota, and Minnesota has a ton of police problems. He was a millionaire.
Maybe that was some of his assets or something. Or maybe she got some
assets
of his,
that he earned
pension.
through that job.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that was some of his pension also. She probably got some of his pension before they took his pension.
All I know is the taxpayers in Minnesota who are paying taxes enough for their police officers to essentially be millionaires. Now, yeah, he'd been on the force a long time. Bottom line is, when you paying all that money in taxes and you have all these police problems, that's a problem.
Now, they don't pay taxes on everything like we do here in Kansas City, Missouri. And
they pay enough for the food to be a millionaire.
And also he was doing a lot of off duty, a lot of they have their own little organization where they can do off duty security and that, because
they have that here. Yeah,
we have that off duty. They make $30. They make $30 an hour.
Yeah, we had some at the mental health center, but right. They are able to do that. When they do that, they are in their full official uniform.
Yes.
They are in a position to do that because of their positions as police officers, which is paid for by the public taxpayers' money. So taxpayers are paying enough money for police officers to essentially be millionaires, and they're killing Black people in the streets. I got a problem with that, Stacy D.
I don't have a problem with nobody getting their hustle on.
I do.
I get your hustle on. And hell, he probably didn't even
I do if they killing our people.
You know what? We don't know how he was handling his finances. He might have been one of those that didn't buy, a lot and just save, or put the max in his 401k. Not his 401k, but his retirement plan. Because I'm sure that was some of his retirement plan money. I promise you, that was some of his retirement plan money.
I don't care where he put the money. It's taxpayers' money, and he's killing people in the streets. They have multiple problems. So here's the thing. because you're saying you'll have a problem with people being on top of their hustle. I got a problem with people being on top of their hustle and they killing our people in the streets. Which goes back to me saying, I hope he die in prison. Now listen to this. Mental health and illness in the news. O.J. Simpson.
Leave him alone. Can he just be old? And because he about almost 80 years old.
Had the nerve to say that he hoped for, quote, some kind of verdict, a conviction. I think the man deserves it. He went on to say that it was, quote, a classic case of depraved indifference. It was unnecessary force. This is a fool who practically decapitated a woman. Who is O.J. Simpson? Hold up, Stacy D. Hold up, Stacy D. Because back when O.J. Simpson was on,
we was happy. We was crazy. I remember when he got out.
I wasn't. I was the only black person that I know who was livid and infuriated, because I don't care if you black, purple, green, you can be turquoise. If you have murdered people in a heinous way, especially, he practically decapitated them. He decapitated that woman practically. I was not celebrating when he got off. And now black folks are like, you know, OJ is a killer. OJ a killer. I said he was a killer back then. And who is he, a man who got away with murder, to say that a police officer used unnecessary force? Unnecessary force is practically decapitating somebody. I can't stand OJ Simpson, Stacy D. Defend OJ. Go ahead, Stacy. Go ahead.
We were very happy as a race. When
we was not happy.
Everybody but JP was, okay? Because so much has went wrong with us. We haven't never got anything. And I just think that's how a lot of people were looking at it.
Right is right and wrong is wrong. And God don't like that.
That is true.
God does not like that. That's my thing, is that sometimes we as a people get so caught up in being black in America that we forget that we are children of God. God does not like that. I don't care what color a person is. He murdered them horribly. He never should have gotten off. I said it back then. And then a decade later, when black folks was willing to acknowledge and, okay, he did do it and it was wrong and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. It was wrong when he did it.
It was wrong.
We can't be so focused on our struggles as black people that we lose sight of how the Lord would have us to live. We can't just be defending some fool, just like this officer, incompetent or whatever the case may be. She accidentally shot this man. She's trying to tase the man. The truth of the matter is, yes, we are black in America and we are fighting against police murders and brutality, but at the same time, right is right, wrong is wrong, and like, she need to be held accountable, but the woman made a mistake. We can't lose sight of that. Stacy D.
So let's hit on the OJ. I can't be defending OJ. Okay, so let's hit on the new news that's all out here also now is Miss Bryant, the 16-year-old teenager that got gunned down, four to the back.
My wife made, and they talked about this on the news, Nadine was saying, and she's always said this, they need to do something about their policy that they automatically shoot a person if they are experiencing a level of dangerousness that could be homicidal. Because the bottom line is, she didn't have a gun, she had a knife. They could have tased her. And they didn't need to kill her.
And she was a child, or they could have shot her in her leg.
Now, they did play the 911 recording of an adult calling on her and saying,
they said it was her.
And they said she was about to kill somebody's grandma with that knife, okay? And so I don't know, because we wasn't there. The bottom line is, she had a knife. I do not think that it deserved the lethality of shooting her when they could have tased her. Now, yes, we would need an officer who know where their taser is. Okay, you can't be tasing and
You can't be
accidentally
tasing and accidentally shoot somebody. That's again.
right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. But the good thing about it is guess what? I was reading also on the news that it said it's under investigation. And if he's wrong, they're gonna do it. He's gonna
get off because that's their policy. But they need to change that policy. Stop using guns against people who do not have a gun.
Once again, that was excessive force.
Extremely, because she still was a child.
And then not to mention it was 4 shots. 4? Why you couldn't just do one in the leg?
Right.
As officers, they have to practice shooting. You as easy as you shot her in the back, you could have shot her in the leg. Or you could have shot her right here.
But they're trained to shoot to kill. They're trained
actually
to shoot to kill.
Not always. It's supposed to be circumstances. I have to do some more investigative reporting. I get back.
Yeah, please do. But they need to change that though.
Yeah, I believe it's some wiggle room in there now. It's not only shoot to kill. I believe it's some wiggle room. But like I said, I'm gonna do some more investigative reporting this week, and I get back with the listeners about that next week.
Okay. Let me wrap up mental health and illness in the news with the state of our country. Okay, a teacher in Greenville, Texas, sent a kid's mother a picture of her foot on this young Black male's neck after the verdict came out and Chauvin was convicted. It was supposed to be a joke. A teacher, that was in Texas, in Greenville, Texas. A teacher in Wisconsin gave an assignment to 6th grade students that was titled, "How Will You Punish This Slave?" for an infraction on a plantation. Kids in Texas used social media to post a slave auction of Black peers starting at $1, auctioning off fellow Black students. And elsewhere in Texas, flyers that read "Great Sale of Slaves" were left near Aledo High School and Middle School. That's the state of our country. All these stories came across my news feed today. That's the state of the country. I almost said state of the world, but I don't think it's fair to the world to view the world through the lens of America. But all of those stories, that's what's going on. And that's just what I had time for today, because there was
I didn't have time to read any today.
There was a multitude of other stories that I didn't even have time to get to.
Now. Okay, JP, let's get to our question of the day, which is really a good one. I can't wait to get on it.
And I want to hear what your opinion is first. Does being in a relationship mean that I can't remain friends with my ex? Does it mean that I can't have any friends of the opposite sex? And let's take a look at whether or not it's okay to hold on to pictures, gifts, and other things from previous relationships. Stacy D, what are your thoughts?
I don't think there's no problem. JP, I'm a female. You're a male. You're one of my closest.
Well, here's in therapy, this is coming up a lot. And so a lot of times, I don't want to say if it's mostly men or mostly women. I'm just curious to know what your perspective is on it as a woman. Your husband, are you okay with him remaining friends with his exes?
Okay, number one, let's hit this. I'm going to hit it so hard. And
hit it.
Okay, first of all, I think it's really dealing with the maturity of you guys' relationship. That's number one. If both individuals are not mature about it, and also I speak on this a lot of time, do not give boyfriend husband's privileges. if you're just my boyfriend, you need not to be worried about who all I have friends with, because you have not been a man enough, or you think I'm not woman enough to be your wife. So we shouldn't even have these conversations unless we're married. And then once we get married, we really shouldn't have the conversation, because it should be something that has already happened. Number one is I'm the only girl. So I have a magnitude of male friends because I'm that cool chick. I mean, because my brother's friends, my cousin's friends, I've always been that cool chick, and also I had no problems with introducing my male friends to my husband. I had no problems with that. I always go with this. You can be my male friend if I can invite you to the family picnic. Right. Now, if I can't invite you to the family picnic, I need not to, we really can't be friends. Now, mind you, I'm going to keep it real. Because I've been having the same phone number for over 25 years, maybe 30. So I do have a few exes that calls and be like, hey, I'm just checking on you. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Really, there's no need for you to check on me. And then also I have some exes that I might hear that their mother passed, because I did lose my mom. And I will send out them something on Facebook and, tell them I'm sorry for your loss. I'm praying for your strength and your understanding. I do believe in that. If you cannot come to the family picnic, you don't need to be talking to them. And that's something I learned from a friend of mine. It should be a platonic relationship. It really should be. I don't want you. I have moved on. You have moved on. Okay. Keeping letters and cards and pictures. I don't care about that. Baby, you got number 1 A grade, boo. Once again, that's about you having confidence in you and high self-esteem. And really, this really should have been in our other segment on relationships, but we're going to hit on this. It's all about that other person having a very good high self-esteem. And guess what? And if your partner continues to just pour that trust in our relationship, why should I be worried about anything? Boo-boo. Because like I done told some of my ex-girls, like, they get mad and come in like, boo-boo, if I wanted him, I would have their last name. So you need to be telling me, thank you for giving you that chance and that opportunity. Because guess what? I have never been left by a man. I'm always the leaver.
I am happy to hear that's your position on this, Stacy D.
Because we got a whole nother position on it.
No, I agree. To me, it's a question. You have to take a look at how much time has passed since you were romantically involved with the person and what the status of your emotional entanglement is with that person.
Soul ties.
Yes. Are there any leftover romantic feelings, or is there any tension, romantic tension, sexual tension? If there is any attraction to that ex, romantically, sexually, or any way, then no, it is not appropriate. But remaining friends with an ex, I don't feel like there should be a problem with that when it is totally platonic. There is no leftover emotional, no sexual. It needs to be to the point that you almost can't even believe that y'all even dated. Like that's a regular friendship. That's when it is a regular friendship. You should be, and this is what I explain to people. If it's a regular friendship, I explain to men, you should be about as likely to have sex with them as with any of your other friends. Right. And so if you are disgusted, like, ooh, that's not happening, then come on. Then that's a regular friendship. Okay. And because that's the way to kind of step back. But for those people who, because sometimes I get people in and they're like, well, I'm friends with my ex, but when me and my girl broke up for a month or so, we hooked up and we had sex. She's not a regular friend if you wouldn't have sex with. You had sex with your boys while you was broke up with your girl. So how is she a regular friend if exactly, which
still
means
have those soul ties, and that cannot be a friendship.
That attraction piece was still there. And so it's people like that who mess it up for everybody else, because you have a lot of other people who are like, no, we are just friends. Like, there is nothing, we don't even discuss the fact that we ever dated. That is a totally platonic friendship. And as I look back over all of my previous relationships, I can think of specific exes that I would never be able to be friends with, not because I have a romantic attraction to them, but because I know that there's a part of them that
still want you.
If I wanted them, I could have them. And that's not a friendship.
Talk that stuff to me, JP. Talk it.
Stacy D.
Oh, brush off your shoulder too, JP. Let them know.
Okay, clearly
this
that
is JP and Stacy D show, y'all.
Stacy D. Okay, I'm humbly stating that
I wasn't that humble. I wasn't that.
Stacy D. Stop acting up. I'm just saying that in some of those relationships where making it to the altar was not going to happen, the relationship lasted 3-4 years, there's still a little bit of that. That's not a regular friendship to me. If there's a little bit of something on either part, that's not a regular friendship. Now, as for having regular friends of the opposite sex that you've never dated, I do not think that people should have a problem with that either, because they're a regular friend. And, you know, I have a female best friend who was
best friend.
My home girl.
Best friend. She was Kelly! The best woman at the wedding, honey. That's how much that is.
My best girl, I had 2 best men and 1 best lady. That's my girl. And every relationship that I have been in, that is something that I had to make very clear up front. Like, that's my girl. Like, she ain't going nowhere. It's my girl.
You know what?
Like, we've been knowing each other since elementary school.
I know. I actually had an incident like that too that happened about 3 years ago. My best male friend, he lives in North Carolina now. We've been friends forever. I mean, everybody would think we were going together, but we'd be like, no,
that's your boy.
That's my boy. We would literally take trips together. I mean, I've been to Jamaica with him, Canada, the Carnival. Oh my God. Down in New Orleans, we'd be kicking it. That was my travel buddy. And so he moved to North Carolina and got engaged, and I was his best woman. And
there you go.
No. His wife now literally had a fit. I even called her one day. I was like, "Hey, so and so, I'm Stacy. I can't wait to meet you. I'm trying to come down there." This was before they got married. He engaged. He proposed. I'm like, "I'm gonna try to come down here the next couple of months so I can meet you." And she's like, "Nah, you don't need to come down here."
He should have checked her. Why didn't he check her? As your friend.
He said he did. But the love that I have for my friend,
you step back.
I step back. I probably talk to him maybe once a year. I'll text him once a year, like, "Happy holidays, I love you." You know, that was very traumatic for you to have those type of love and a feeling for the opposite sex. And I just wanted to, you know, be family. And even his family down here was like, says, "I don't understand it. Everybody knew you part of the family. You are a little sister." I mean,
right.
It was just, I mean, that was very, and I know he feels some type of way too, but it was different. It most definitely was it was very heart wrenching. That hurt. It's still, just talking about it now, it's getting me all emotional. But I love him to death. My kids loved him, and it just tore up a whole relationship when I was just trying to be bubbly me. And she felt threatened, but she didn't have any threatened.
Because if
you
y'all was
gaining
gonna,
you another sister.
right. And the fact that you reached out to her, because this is in alignment with what
that's that real woman stuff.
Well, and a regular friendship, that person can come to the family picnic. You reaching out to her should have let her see, okay, this is a regular friendship. Because if you and him was doing something, you wouldn't be contacting her all excited about meeting her.
Yeah.
And
but
she
some women are just jealous. They just don't want to share him, which goes back to which we talked about 2 weeks ago, is not only do they don't want to share with the best other opposite sex friend, they don't even want to share them with the kids either.
Which is especially awful. You were a true friend in being willing to step back. The problem I have with it, and I hope that your friend is watching the show, is I feel like he should not have let you step back, because you put the ball in his court. As a friend, I'm gonna step back, and so your woman can be secure and all of that. But he still should have checked her and said, hold on, this ain't how we handling this. You don't get to weed out my friend who was there from day one, who was there before you ever came along. He still should have checked her. Mm-hmm. So as he's listening to this, I hope he hears me saying to him, check your wife. Because when it comes to insecurities, you do not help a person by playing into their insecurities. It's like trying to help a crack addict by giving them crack. You are not helping a crackhead by giving them crack, okay? You are not helping an insecure person by playing into their insecurities. It would have been better for him to help her through it. Because as time would have went by, as she would have gotten to know Stacy D, because the D, she'd have been like, the D is cool. I shouldn't even been tripping. And he should have set the stage for that, because you did what you should have did as a friend. He didn't do what he should have did as a friend.
Not at all.
So, okay, now the gifts. I hear what you're saying, Stacy D. Who cares about that? I agree with that as well. I don't think, because I know
had people. Wait a minute, because I had one buy me a car. I'm not giving no cars away.
I wasn't even talking about major gifts like that.
I was talking about. What gifts you talking about?
Photos. Well, I was talking about regular, just anything that a person has from a previous relationship. I don't think that holding on to it is holding on to the love or still wanting. If that is the case, then yes, the person is having a emotional attachment to the gift that can kind of taint things. But what I ask people to remember is that your spouse or your partner, they had a life before you came along.
That's right.
And to have them erase the previous pages from the previous chapters in the book that is their life, I feel like that is a horrible thing to do, because the person you have fallen in love with is the person that they are because of the past experiences that they had.
Exactly.
So for you to say, get rid of those pictures, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of how they came to be the person that you fell in love with, I have a problem with that. You know, I think that it is ridiculous and it is immature to expect that. You know,
and that comes on both sides too, the man's side and the woman's side.
Absolutely, because I see it on both sides. I see, you know, sometimes I get a couple in and the wife or the female partner is like, well, he still got his pictures from the prom with Why do you care about pictures from the prom? It's stupid. You know, and sometimes from the male side, you know, well, she still got this and that, and I don't know why she need all that. She got me. Okay, But she was a human, a person with a soul and a spirit before you ever came along. Grow up.
Or do like mine did, honey. He made me, we traded that car in and he bought me another one.
Well, that's an option.
Yeah.
For those out there who's getting cars as gifts.
Not like a car high. He's like, I'm gonna tell you, but first husband, he had me in a Ford, what was it? Ford Taurus. They just came out. But guess what my second husband said? He was like, baby, don't worry about it. He can keep that. I'm gonna buy you a Honda Accord. You know, a Honda Accord was what was in the 1990s.
And that Honda Accord is stuck somewhere on the road right now.
Yes,
okay. It outlasted the Taurus, probably.
It outlasted the marriage.
Only one of them cars is still on the road. Hey, but one of them cars still on the road.
Woo!
Okay. To those out there who are Taurus owners, we are well, no, we mean what we said.
And guess what, Ford? You need to hand me a check and Honda do a check. Cash at me.
Once again, Stacy D is doing a shout out to people who have not paid for advertisement time on this show. But yeah, a Honda, Toyota, yes, that is a way to handle it. Okay, so I think we're good as far as our question of the day. To those couples out there, I encourage you to take a look at why you struggle with these issues. Take a look at whether or not you are having some insecurities. Because if you're having some insecurities, don't make that about your spouse or your partner. Reflect inward and sort through those things so that you all are not having issues over him having female friends or her having male friends. Look inward. Now, for those couples where the insecurities are legitimate, meaning you are married to someone who has a history of cheating and has cheated with so-called friends, that's different. Okay, that's a fool or Miss Fool who is skewing the definition of friendship, which is totally different. We are not talking about those situations. We are talking about totally platonic, earnest, and sincere friendships. Nobody should be in the position that Stacy D ended up in, where she lost a lifelong friend because somebody refused to work through their psychological insecurity issues. That's not okay. Are we good on this question for today, Stacy D?
Yes, and also remember that there's three things that a relationship is built on, and that's communication. We have to be able to communicate effectively. Without great communication, the relationship is not going to last.
Let's not underestimate the value of communication. The vast majority of the couples that I see in therapy, what is at the top of the list that has resulted in the slow deterioration of that relationship is communication problems. Either a lack of communication or toxic communication, cussing each other out, disrespecting each other, demeaning each other. But regardless of what the communication issue is, whether it's one extreme or the other, the lack of communication or toxic, abusive communication, that is at the heart and the root. A lot of times people think that most couples are coming in for couples therapy because of infidelity. That is not the case.
No.
The vast majority of couples are coming in because of communication problems. So no matter what the issue is in your relationship, whether you're struggling with, is that just a friend or what y'all been doing? What y'all doing?
Okay,
whatever the case is.
Oh, baby, you got what I need. That used to be my song back in the day.
That was a jam back in the day.
Yeah, it was.
As Stacy D has said, communicate, process through these issues, through these things.
Healthy
the healing, The healing of any relationship starts with opening up that communication, and that communication being healthy. When people come to therapy, the therapist is a mediator, a neutral party to assist in facilitating that open, healthy, productive communication. Okay, I have a guest at the door. It's Bring Your Kids to Work Day.
Bring your kids to work,
baby. Oh, look, get Sire out. Oh, hey,
Sasha,
honey.
Sasha.
Sasha, boo.
Did the princess just wake up?
Say
Hey,
hi, Stacy. My baby's tired. Sasha, boo.
She
Girl,
just woke up.
You at work,
guess what? I just woke up Sire. He's tired too. He's over here laying in the sun.
My baby need to go back to sleep.
Yeah. Look, he's trying to get down so he can go to sleep too. I done messed up his afternoon naps. He's 10 years old. He's 7.
Did you see the doggy?
Doggy!
Pick Sire up. Sashi loves dogs. Pick up Sire so she can see Sire again. Look at the doggy. That's a doggy. Yes,
that's
baby.
a doggy. I know you miss your dog, don't you?
Stacy D. Right. Okay. Are we? Yes, that's the doggy baby. Yes, that's the doggy baby. Look, she don't want us to wrap up the show.
I see. Oh, hold on a minute, Sire. Hold on, Sasa.
All right. Thank you
good.
For joining us today. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything.
God bless and take care.
Bye-bye now.